What's good, everyone? It's your boy Dak908, aka the Dig Dug himself, my son and my sunnies. Welcome back to some more Monster Hunter Generations Ultimate, and today we're going to be fighting the Gypceros. Now, the funny thing about the Gypceros is that he's another monster who likes to take flight after he decides that he's taking his ball and going home. So you might want to paintball him as soon as you actually see him, okay? Okay. Now that's out of the way, let's talk about the way it actually attacks you. Its main thing is poison. It will more than likely poison you. It has an attack similar to that of the Royal Ludroth. Rather, the Royal Ludroth has an attack similar to it, where it will run in a straight line and shoot poison on either side of it as it runs. We call this like the drunken run or something like that. The Royal Ludroth has the same type of attack, but its thing is water. I should have mentioned this in the Royal Ludroth video. I apologize. So there you go. Royal Ludroth does that drunken run thing where it shoots water on either side. It got that from the Gypceros, where it will do the same thing, but this time it will shoot poison on either side. Now, another thing that the Gypceros actually has the ability to actually flash you, causing you to be stunned or dizzied or whatever you want to call it, where you have to like swing the stick or press a whole bunch of buttons to actually get out of the state. That is actually easy to dodge if you pay attention to the little hammer on its head. It will blink slowly, then it will speed up really quickly, and then it'll actually do it. Now, on top of that, the Gypceros itself will actually set itself up for this particular attack, where it'll stop moving, and then it'll like clack, 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 and then it'll throw its head back, and that's when the flash actually happens. So if you actually have the brave ability or the brave style or the adept style or means to actually guard, you can actually migrate yourself for this altogether. So just pay attention to how he does it. The timing isn't too tough, but you should see it coming before it actually happens. I make sure I prepare myself for this particular thing. Now, another thing you should actually watch out that he does is actually he has the ability to steal items from you. So whenever he actually pecks at you with this beak, especially like the main beak pecking attacks, he will actually steal an item from you. Usually it'll be something like a health potion, a potion, mega potion, ore if you have it. So like iron ore, light crystal, things like that, antidotes, whatever. It'll just steal some items from you. Now, with those particular characteristics out the way, let's talk briefly about like the way it actually attacks. Now, we did talk about how it actually will run at you with like a drunken rage, and it'll spit poison balls at you. That's one thing it will do. It does have this very weird attack where it uses its tail, and it extends its tail, and it looks gross, and it'll slap you or whatever. It's a really gross attack, but if you actually pay attention to it, the tail itself is actually the weakest point to the monster itself. Crazily enough, it's not his head or anything like that. If you hit the tail, that's the highest hitbox, or the hit zone. It's the best hit zone for you to actually attack the monster at, so that's a thing. On top of that, it's also the neck being number 2. So if you can't really hit the tail because it's doing weird tail stuff, try to go for its neck. And if you're going to hit either of these things, of course, hit it with fire or ice. Those are its two biggest elemental weaknesses, and you should be relatively okay with that. So with its runs out of the way, its means of flight being asserted, of course, the ability for it to actually shoot balls of poison or whatever, and the ability for it to flash you and dizzy you and all that stuff. That's for the most part its basic measure of attacks. You understand those things, and you understand how the monster fights, and there's actually no real issue whatsoever at all. He's actually one of my favorite monsters, truth be told, because once you actually understand what it can do, it's really not too much else to really worry about. Also, lastly, he will feign his own death, meaning he'll be close to death and then act like he will be dead. The thing is, he's not, okay? So don't just stand around. What you can do, however, you can carve him when he's in this state, but pay very close attention to the hammer on his head. If you didn't break the hammer itself, it will blink and let you know when he's actually going to sprout himself back to life. I usually don't like to break this until like close to the very end, unless I know I can kill the monster in like a low amount of time, because it's a great way to actually tell when he's going to come out of this fake death state and then flail around. This flailing attack, however, is probably its strongest hitting attack, period. So if you get hit with it, it'll do like 50% damage to you if you're not careful. All right, so just watch out for that. So we didn't even talk about the armor or anything like that. I'm falling off, my bad, guys. Anyway, so its armor, it's not that bad. It has negate poison and marathon runner. So marathon runner is an ability that people who use dual blades or even hammer should actually look into, because it reduces the amount of stamina that is depleted when a bit of stamina is constantly draining. So if you're running and you're sprinting, your stamina is constantly draining. It reduces the speed in which that does drain. Same with the dual blades in demon mode and the hammer when you're charging it up. So that's pretty decent skill for those weapons there. Other than that, its armor is kind of just meh. It does have raise hunger. That's a thing, so you might want to gem that out. That's a negative skill where it increases the speed in which your stamina is depleted once your stamina says I'm going to be depleted altogether, like when it goes from 125 to 100, that kind of thing. Lastly, its weapons. They're great poison weapons. Now, here's the funny thing about these poison weapons. I'm going to be fighting another monster in the next video. It's going to be the Irodrome, and I'm going to mention its weapons as well. The Gypceros weapons and the Irodrome's weapons, they're literally like tick for tack. I mean, it's kind of hard to say which one is better, but the Irodrome's weapon are either equal to, if not slightly better than the Gypceros weapons. It really depends on how you look at it. Where the Irodrome might have more poison, the Gypceros might have a little bit more attack. When I mean a little bit, I mean like the Gypceros' poison would be like 42, maxed all the way out to the end in G rank, and the Irodrome's might be like 45, you know? But the attack is only plus or minus maybe 10 points. So it's really hard. It really depends on you. I guess some people will go with I believe the Gypceros, because the Gypceros stuff has more slots as opposed to what the Irodrome would actually have. So I mean, that's the thing. So it really depends on like what you really like out of it. It's one of those tomato kind of joints. I mean, you can or you don't want to. It's either or, okay, when it comes to the weapon. So just remember that it has great poison weapons. Same with the Irodrome. It can shoot poison from its mouth in a multitude of ways. Watch out for the drunken run, where it will run around spitting poison on either side. It will stand still and shoot poison at you as well, so watch for that. Also, again, don't forget it has the ability to flash you, making you, dizzy and have to actually press a whole bunch of buttons or swing the stick to actually get out of that dizzy state. And its weaknesses are fire and ice, and you must hit it in the tail or the neck for this to take grand effect. Also, don't forget it will fake its death, even though it's not dead. It'll be close to death, but it won't actually be dead. So just understand that when it does that, pay attention to its hammer on its head. And if it's flashing very, very rapidly, get out of the way, because it's going to wake up and flail around. That attack does a lot of damage. And with that being said, everyone, that's pretty much all I can really tell you about the Gypceros. There's a little bit left on the video, and I probably missed a thing or two here, but for the most part, that is the Gypceros, okay? He's a monster you probably will never fight, like, ever again, really, unless you really want poison weapons. And I mean, it's always good to have at least one poison weapon. It really is. Chameleos is the Elder Dragon. He's appears in this game, but does he? I'm pretty sure he does. But his, yeah, he does. But his weapons, they're poison, but they have high attack, low poison. Okay, so that's the thing. You can have Irodrome or Gypceros, high poison, modest attack, or in which this Chameleos will have high attack, low poison. That's the thing. But anyway, it's been your boy. You all take care. Thanks so much for watching the video. Look, he's faking his death. He's faking it. Look at the hammer. Look at the hammer. It's gonna start blinking. Yep. See, it's blinking. It's blinking. Yeah. Look at it. It's blinking. And it's blinking fast. Time to get out of Dodge. Yeah. There you go. Anyway, peace out. Take care.